One of the true ironies in the cartridge wars and the cartridge debate that's always going on is confirmation bias. Let me explain. The same people that tell you the 6.5 Creedmoor is not enough for elk, not enough for big game, and the 6.5 PRC is barely enough for elk, big game, and even now in light of the 6.5 Creedmoor plus Peak coming out from Federal, which is all the latest buzz, which is awesome, they still tell you that it's not enough for elk and big game and all those good things. Those same people will also tell you that a caliber that's half of a millimeter bigger, half a millimeter, that's like 2 nose hairs bigger, shooting a 130 grain round, the 7mm rim mag being the standard for that historically, is the perfect all-around game cartridge of all time. According to some people, the 7 rim mag is so magnificent in its power, you could take a dragon down with it. All right, so same people saying 6.5 is not sufficient even at plus peak powers or PRC powers, but the 7mm giving you that extra half of an inch of a millimeter, that's about that much. Maybe not even that. Like we're talking, you know, nose hairs, 2 of them stacked maybe, is now the ultimate cartridge of all time. All right, so let's discuss some of the truth behind that though. The 7mm is an extremely capable caliber choice, right? 7 rim mag proves that. The other 7s out there, like the 280 Ackley improved, the 7 PRC, which is somewhere around here, over there. They prove that. The 7mm does give you a little bit more frontal diameter, a little bit more energy and mass down region. It's actually a pretty darn juicy sectional density, high ballistic coefficient type of caliber when you compare it directly to a 6.5. So if you take highest in class caliber, or excuse me, highest in class weight, sectional density, and ballistic coefficient caliber 7mm bolts and place them next to the 6.5s, the 7mm is going to beat it in a lot of stinking ways. It really is. It just is, you know, energy and all these good things. It's not quite as meaty as a 308 is, but it definitely does give you an advantage over 6.5 in some things. That doesn't mean the 6.5 is insufficient. But today I want to talk about the thing that could absolutely wreck Hornady's footing in the industry if Federal did it. It would be hilarious, and they really do have an opportunity here. Federal does, with the plus peak technology specifically. So this cartridge I'm going to talk to you about today is the cartridge that could kill the 7 PRC. In fact, this cartridge could kill most of the other 7s, all of them. Maybe not in pure velocity. Okay, so there are some 7mm out there that they're like the ultra magnums. I don't even know what you call them, like 284 Norma, whatever, something like that. They are screaming fast, screaming hot, screaming magnums that are just throwing, you know, gallons of powder down the barrel while you're shooting these things. And they get that 7mm bullet in the 160 to 175-ish class range, the upper end, you know, say up to 180. They get it screaming fast. But that's too much gun for most people. It's too much not bullet, but too much powder, too much burn, too much kick, too much all of those things for most people, most situations, and it's not something most people ever want to shoot or buy. You don't find it on the shelves much either. Really can't find it at all. So here's what Federal could do to absolutely unseat the 7 PRC permanently, and that is the 7mm08 and plus peak. So the plus peak case cartridge, that's the change here. Taking the 7mm08 and putting it in that peak alloy cartridge and gaining 200 to 300 feet per second on average with your average size bullets. So 162 being like the heavy end for 7mm08, even up into the 175s now. And you could still run close to 28, 29, maybe even 3,000 feet per second. You're gonna be right on par with the 7 PRC. And I think the package overall gives you more than a Magnum does, because lighter powder charges, lighter kicking, easier to shoot, shorter barrels, longer barrel life, all those things. Because I watched a Vortex and Federal podcast the other day that the guys from Federal sit down and they went for like an hour talking about this plus peak stuff and looking at it on the surface, and if their claims are all accurate and true, you're not losing much for barrel life at all. You gain no wear or pressure concerns for your rifles, so you can shoot in standard rifles. They're modern day, you know, well-built rifles. Extra barrel burn in life is really not that big of an issue. It's very, very minimal. Pressures and, you know, breaking bolts and all those things, not really at all an issue. The cartridge, the plus peak cartridge, is designed to take all of that and minimize it and contain it all. And it's designed specifically metallurgically to do that. And metallurgical changes today versus what was available 60 years ago are pretty significant. And the metallurgy of it proves true. It actually does. I mean, I use it daily in making knives and stuff like that, and I can compare historical knives or historical metals from even 60, 70 years ago that were like considered high grade in the standard at the time, comparing to stuff we have today. It's not even close. It's not even close. And the math is there. The math proves it. The science is there. You can prove like these plus peak, it looks like they worked it out to the point where it will work. It will work 100%. No question. It's going to work. Higher pressures, faster velocities out of smaller cartridges. The Magnums don't even stand a chance anymore. Honestly, if they adopt this plus peak technology into more of the more universal cartridges that are known out there that people use a lot, 6.5 Creedmoor was a genius place to start. 308, that'd be another good move. 7mm 08, that takes all the 7 mils off the table. Everything else out there. 280 Ackley improved, 7 PRC, all those things, there's no need for them anymore. There would never be a need for them again. It would unseat the 7mm Magnum category, period. 338, throw a 338 caliber together. The 308, definitely, you're pushing, if you look at the 308, you're probably going to be pushing close to 300 WSM speeds, velocities, and bullet sizes, which is amazing, which is phenomenal. That's a huge big game cartridge right there. The 300 WSM or 300 Win Mag, you're going to be getting close to 300 Win Mag velocities with the same bullet weights. Definitely beating the 30-06. That's a bear killer. I mean, that's the one cartridge that everybody, I think, universally can agree, the 300 Win Mag, that you could hunt anything with, without question, right? So 308 plus peak, you got yourself a 300 Win Mag in a short action cartridge. Minimal gain in recoil, minimal loss in barrel life, same powder charge, same bullet sizes, everything's the same. You're not going to be beating people to death with a Magnum rifle. Where's the loss? I mean, there is no loss. There is no downside to it at all whatsoever. It's reloadable. Plus peak brass or alloy is reloadable. So I truly think that if they put the 7mm 08 in plus peak, it would unseat the 7 PRC. I think for most people. If you have a 7 PRC already, like I do, you probably wouldn't get another one, 7mm 08 maybe, unless you just got tired of shooting the Magnum or you wanted your kids to have something to shoot. But so far as just effect on game and everything, you stuff 162 to 175 grain bullet in that little 7mm 08 with plus peak, you're getting 200 to 300 feet per second faster than the average would for 708. You're pushing it up close to 3,000 feet per second, 2,900 whatever. That 7mm bullet is super, super efficient. The high ballistic coefficient, the high efficiency VLD type of bullets, the Burgers, the Elite Hunters, all those good things, the ELDXs and stuff. You can kill anything you need to kill at any range you need to kill it. No questions asked. And you can penetrate. You have the mass, because everybody says the 6.5 is not enough, although there's plenty of dead elk in the world and all kinds of other big game that would argue with that. If they could argue, but they're dead. They're meat. Somebody ate them. They're not alive. They can't argue. They died. But anyway, if you could argue that, that the 6.5 is not enough, to me, I think the 6.5 is going to be enough in plus peak for just about 99.9% of what anybody would ever need to hunt with it. But supposing that you are just fixated on the 7mm, 7 rib mag ain't scratching your bolt anymore, and the 7 PRC just ain't quite doing it for you, or you don't have one yet, 7mm 08 would actually unseat this sucker, and if Federal does it, I will laugh my butt off all the way to the store to get myself a new barrel for my 308. Because I will turn it into a 7mm 08 and just shoot plus peak out of it. That's what we're gonna do. Thank y'all for joining me again. What do you think? Get in the comments below and share your thoughts. I'd like to see him do it. I just think it'd be funny. I think it'd be funny just to do it because Hornady's got a great marketing team. They do come up with some pretty great products, and it's fad stuff. Like, they've been fanboying the. Can you imagine putting a plus peak? I mean, the 7 backcountry. This is why I don't think Federal would do it though. That's the problem. The 7 backcountry just came to me because Federal came out with a 7mm backcountry with plus peak alloy and a Magnum style cartridge, and they're just getting screaming velocities out of that thing. So I don't know if they would actually do a 7mm 08 plus peak. Federal, you got, please just give us some brass. Even if you don't make the ammo, just give us the alloy. The loadable cartridges. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to create a new cartridge. Just give us the loaded, or the alloy to load. Give us the cases to load in the alloy. We'll take it from there. I don't know, it won't keep up with the 7 backcountry, so you still got the market share there. The 7 backcountry is there's always gonna be your Magnum fanboys. They're gonna want the 7 backcountry and the screaming fast velocities you can get out of it with the ultra heavy bullets out of 16-inch barrels or whatever. But some of us might make good use of the 7mm 08, say like 18 to 20 inch barrel, 162 grain bullets going 2,900 feet per second. I would not hate that in a short action. Nice light shooter. I'm just saying. All right, y'all get in the comments below. Thanks for joining me again, and be good. Y'all be blessed. Keep your knife sharp, keep your powder dry, keep your magazines loaded.